Hello, welcome to the Chatting with Dr. Stevil show. I'm your host, filling in for the good doctor, Pastor Adams. Today's guest is an accomplished actor, producer, writer, and owner of an audio drama production company. He recently produced a live reading of Frankenstein and witnessed a rare mating ritual of wild picnic tables. I bring to you Anthony DP Man.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm on the Stevil show again. No matter what I do, no matter how I try and escape, no matter how I try to hide, there are no rocks big enough. Actually, that's not true. I actually love hanging out with Dr. Stevil and his many associates. And Dr. Stevil is, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I have known you through conventions. I've seen you at conventions for years now, probably about a decade now. And you are an ambassador of goodwill at these events, and your presence always seems to elevate and brings joy to people. So I'm looking forward to messing all this up for you over the course of whatever time you decide to have me on today.
Perfect. And with that, I'm going to get out of that voice because that's just going to kill me.
Yeah, I don't. It's like gargling with razor blades.
Something like that. Yeah. With those scrubby,
cleaning
pads.
Yeah. Like one of those, like steel wool or what have you. Probably a very bad idea. Although then you'd be able to do a great Anne Ramsey. So that's perfect.
Right, and it's also really bad if you got COVID-19, right? Because it's like it just makes it worse.
Oh dear, absolutely.
I don't.
That scratchy throat. Yes, that's right. So hey, I like the new digs. I think I see that you've had some renovations around the old joint there. They're looking pretty good.
I had it made just for the show, just for you.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's going to be it's fantastic. And those very chic, custom designed cobwebs and wonderful. Just fantastic. Absolutely garish. Love
it. Those are real.
Oh, in that case, I'm going to send you a can of Raid. It's are you? Here's the thing. I'm a grown man. I've grown, and then I've grown some more. I am still terrified, absolutely terrified of spiders. And I don't know about your neck of the woods, but where I live here in Kingston, it's spider season now. So they're starting to come out. And that means that every morning, without fail, when I leave the condo, boom, even if there's been, traffic galore coming in and out of this place, no matter what time of day it is, I always, my face always finds the cobweb. It always finds the spider web. And a few years ago, I actually owned a tarantula for a period of time. I hope you don't mind if I hijack the show. So a few years ago,
tarantulas are cool. I held them in my hands. You can't even feel them, right? They're so light.
Absolutely, that's the thing, is that they're light. They're furry. They're too big to be scary in some ways. Now, so I actually owned a tarantula, and it was my means by which I wanted to try and conquer my fear of spiders. So I was able to hold the tarantula and feed her. Her name was Delilah. She was lovely, and it succeeded in at least removing any fear that I had of tarantulas. Now, living in Canada, however, every little house spider, every little garden spider, every little, if I can see it, it's big. That's kind of my rule of thumb. I'm still terrified of them, but I think they're fascinating creatures. But anyway, it's spider season here. So if I seem skittish or what have you, it's because I'm always looking in the corners.
Well, speaking of spiders, I mean, little spiders don't bug me anymore, but I used to work in Afghanistan, Kabul, Afghanistan, out there, right. And they got something called camel spiders.
Yes, now, yeah.
If you were casting a movie for evil spiders, camel spiders, they're scary, like freaking predators and stuff. They're they're about the size of the hand right there. And they jump, right? So a lot of I was lucky. I've only seen a couple that the Dutch captured. And I guess there was one time me and my buddies were playing with one of those remote control helicopters, and one was crawling through the terminal which we were at. So of course we did the adult thing. We jumped on top of picnic tables, and then we started to attack it with the helicopter, chasing it out, which was kind of cool.
That sounds reasonable to me. Wow.
But down south in Kandahar, those people, the soldiers down there, they really had to worry because there's rumors of them, like, being in their shoes and whatnot, or
Oh.
dropping down from where they're sleeping. So they had to
Oh.
have, like, net cams.
Oh.
So I was
Oh.
lucky I only saw the ones in captive and that other one, but yeah, those are scary little bastards.
As if conditions weren't bad enough, right? And I've seen footage of camel spiders, and I know some people who have served over in Afghanistan as well. And I've heard stories. I've heard stories. They're terrifying. And I think they're a member of the scorpion family, actually. So camel spider is a bit of a misnomer. They're actually scorpions, which doesn't make it any better. It's an arachnid with armor. So I don't think that makes it any better for me. They're terrifying. So maybe we're lucky.
We had a couple Dutch people that caught it. We had a couple Dutch security patrol. They did security around their compound so people like us don't enter in there. And they got a couple. And me being I was a fiber optic tech, so we provide their internet. So they're always nice to us. And they had a couple captured, and then they put it in with a scorpion, and they kind of like watched them fight. It was interesting.
Oh, that's fascinating. I love the Dutch. It's especially when I go out to lunch with them because everybody picks up their own check. It's great.
Right? Isn't it weird?
Listen, I'll let you get back to doing your show now.
Well, that's cool, man. We got the spiders out of the way. Ooh, scary stuff. Now, yesterday you did a recording of Frankenstein you've got a bunch of buddies of yours together, right? Actors or whatnot, and you guys did a live performance of Frankenstein, a story that you wrote a long time ago.
Yeah, the script. Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, I depending on the folks who are watching, they're going to know me from a couple of different angles. Some people will.
Jay Crawford says, "LOL."
Hello, Jay. Hello, Jay. Jay's a good guy. So people are either going to know me as a filmmaker because I did make 5 feature films, which are out there in wide distribution.
Yes, you did.
Thank you. And over the past few years, though, there's been a bit of a kind of a turnaround in a different direction that I've taken because I've returned to my love of audio theater, audio drama, spoken word, which is something I used to do back in the 90s in Montreal. I had these opportunities to get on radio and produce these very hokey live to air radio plays with people in studio, and I used to do a lot of spoken word presentations, and I loved that medium until I got distracted by theater, and then of course the film thing happened. But a few years ago, in 2016, I wanted to take a break from film. We just finished my biggest production, which was a musical version of A Christmas Carol. And
you were Scrooge.
I was Scrooge. It was set in Canada. It was a musical. It was a very, very different take. Colin Baker from Doctor Who. I'm a Doctor Who nut, as you can see by the Dalek and the paraphernalia. In fact, I'm actually.
I was going to ask you about that.
You actually have to come in the TARDIS doors to get into my studio here at home, and I've got some wonderful. If you just take a look, some wonderful Doctor Who screen used props on the wall from the original series. So, bit of a nut. Colin appeared as Charles Dickens, and that was a wonderful film. It was wholesome. It was a musical. We did a TV series to cast our Tiny Tim. I got to sing. I got to. The film was picked up by PBS that year, so it was kind of cathartic, and it was kind of the closing of a chapter in some ways. And I ended up getting together with a friend of mine who you must know, Maurizio Guarini from the convention circuit of the band Goblin.
He's a composer.
Yeah. You know Maurizio. You've met him before, I'm sure.
He's a scary looking guy, but he's really friendly.
Yeah, we have the same look, the bald head and the beard. It's we did a recording of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, which we thought we would put out with Fangoria, and a few people would hear it. Lo and behold, it got picked up by Cadabra Records. Okay. Oh, yeah. Look at that. People popping in. I love this. It got picked up by Cadabra Records, which is a vinyl label out of Syracuse. They're incredible. And, well, one thing led to another, and that's how Bleak December was born. That's a reference to a line in the poem. Now I do a lot of spoken word recordings for the label, and we also produce these wonderful full cast audio plays featuring some people that I love. Like our first one was Tony Todd as Dracula. Candyman
I
himself.
saw the preview on that. Wow.
It was wonderful. Then we had Sir Derek Jacobi as Sherlock Holmes. We've had David Warner, Malcolm McDowell's been involved. Like we've had Sylvester McCoy, Colin Baker, two of the doctors have also been involved, and we've also just worked with Brian Blessed and Lawrence Harvey from the Human Centipede film. So it's wonderful. I've been able to return to my love of the audio format. It's done very well for us. And it kind of links
I used to listen to a lot of those.
Well, it's great because with film, what happens?
The Phantom.
The Phantom or the Saint, and of course Vincent Price in The Price of Fear.
Ooh, I thought it was him.
I grew up with all those things, So it's been wonderful to do that, because with film you're limited by your budget and what you can do visually, but in the audio, you're limited only by the limits of your imagination. Anyway, so we've been doing that, and yes, right now during this current apocalypse, I've dug out some of the old scripts the hokey scripts that I wrote in the 90s that we used to do, and I've been getting people together. Some of the regular Bleak December cast members are going to be involved in these, and some new people who have been writing to say they'd love to get involved, but maybe they live in Timbuktu or what have you, and they can't be in studio here. So we're finding ways to do these things live. Kind of live, actually, because we're too cheap to pay for it to go live to Facebook. So we recorded an hour before and put it up, warts and all. So Frankenstein's out there right now, and we're going to keep it up a little bit longer than we said we would, because people are loving it, and hopefully some people who are watching your fantastic show here may want to check it out after. So there we go.
I love the twist you had on Frankenstein. I wasn't expecting that, but it was nice.
It's different. It's kind of a Lovecraftian thing. We won't ruin it for the audience at home, because it's different. It's different, but it was fun to do. It was a lot of fun.
We've got Bill Smith says, miss the old works where the voice carried one to the place and time, much like reading Anne Rice. Thank you for keeping this form alive.
Well, thank you, Bill. Oh, well, Bill, thank you very much. That's fantastic. We're proud of it, and what we certainly have. We produce them in such a way that they feel like audio movies. You hear the people panning from one channel to the other as they're crossing a room. You hear the nuances, and you get a better. You'll never get a better show than up here in your imagination when you listen to an audio drama. You can't do that with film. It's amazing. So yeah, we're happy to keep that alive.
I had a couple comic book people on last week from Tommy Gun Banshee, and they were considering doing audio works of their stories. So I did mention your name to them.
Oh, that's
send
cool.
them your way. Hopefully they watch this. That'll be cool.
Oh, thank you.
They've also got another guy in Saskatchewan who does Aurora Man. Apparently he's been doing his own version of bringing his comic book to life. So this is starting to come back.
That's a great idea. I've always been intrigued by those motion comics. Like they did a few back about 10 years ago, like with Watchmen and some other properties. And I've always been fascinated by that, where you take a graphic novel and it's not even an animation. You're just kind of panning around the frame, but you have that audio track going, and I think that's really interesting, especially considering everybody's got one of these evil devices on them at all times. I mean, it's kind of cool, the idea of being able to blend two mediums, because I think graphic novels are great. I don't read enough of them, but I think they're a great medium, and there's it's interesting when you bring a couple of different forms of media together.
Oh, for sure. And now with everybody having the phones, right, they just go to work. Instead of listening to music, they can listen to shows. Now, Jay Crawford says, Anthony, with this pandemic, do you find it hard to do projects, or can they do readings, and can you edit them together?
Hey, Jay. So Jay Crawford is he is the mastermind. He's the evil genius behind Deep River's Geek Fest. Oh yes, yeah. You might have competition there, Steve. He's got the North. You've got the South. So maybe maybe there's an invasion.
Log on, Jay, if you can. He's got the address, so he can tell us more about him. And I want to see what this evil genius looks like.
Jay's a great dude, and I really believe in Deep River Geek Fest. And they've had to put things on hold because of this pandemic, but they're going to be back. So to answer Jay's question while he's logging on, if he's logging on, yes, I've been in the middle of wrapping up our most recent production, which is a licensed remake in audio of The Wicker Man, one of my favorite films. One of my favorite films
The
of all
Wicker
time.
Man.
Love it, love it. The original, not the Nicolas Cage fiasco. And you know what? Because of the way we work, yeah, I've had no problem continuing to work at home. And technology is so good. Like Steve, you sound great coming through your mic, and you know you can pick up the dulcet tones here. People can work at home, and we can bring them all together. So this isn't going to this pandemic isn't going to impede Bleak December. In fact, it's giving me a little bit more time and no excuse to not be doing work, because I get distracted so easily. You know, squirrel.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Yeah, well, you know what it's like.
Like your little adventure with the picnic tables there. That was interesting.
I was on a walk last night at a lovely trail outside of Kingston, and I don't really do nature. We talked about spiders, but I for some reason in my temporary madness, I decided I wanted to go for a walk. So I was alone on the trail, and I turned this bend. It's about 8 o'clock at night, and I see these two picnic tables laid up against a tree, and well, it looks like they're looks like one table's mounting the other table. And so I realized, I mean, I'm laughing. I'm alone in the middle of the woods laughing at this. And, chipmunks are looking at me strange at this point. So I whipped out the phone, and I had to film this. And of course, it couldn't just be taking video. I had to do one of those Canadian hinterland moments, the mating ritual of the picnic table. So it's funny. I put that up on Facebook, and I didn't expect as much traffic on it. But hey, if we can bring a laugh to people, right, Steve? That's the important thing.
That's the whole thing. I posted on my quarantine and board page because it is just freaking brilliant. I've never seen that either, so it's lucky for you to capture something like that. It's just amazing.
I'm trying to get a grant to do a study, actually. So, and it's just my luck. I'll get it. So.
All right, we got some gentlemen logging on. So this is Jay Crawford.
Hey guys.
Hello, Jay.
Jay Crawford, how you doing?
I can hear you.
I had the pleasure of meeting Jay on the way to North Bay last year. I was heading up there to make a film with a filmmaker. I'm going to give a plug to Sebastian Godin. He's been involved in these Bleak December live productions. In fact, they were his idea. Very talented filmmaker. He's up in North Bay. I definitely want to get you hooked up with him, Jay, because he's a talented guy, and I think you guys could be useful to each other. But I got to meet Jay on the way through to North Bay last year, and it was a delight. And I was immediately won over by this fellow because he's a big geek like the rest of us. We're all geeks, and geeks are my favorite people in the world because, when you're in mixed company and very reserved company, you say something, and you know that even as polite as people can be, it just kind of goes over their heads. But I love being with geeks because geeks get all the stuff. They get all the shit. Am I allowed to say shit on this program? I guess I am. There we go. People are allowed.
It's too late. Yeah.
All the stuff. Geeks get all the stuff. And I love that. Anyway, so Jay's one of those people, and Jay, you've been out there doing lots of videos yourself.
Trying to, yeah. It's all about bringing the geekness to Deep River, and I found you through the Hilarious House fan page, and then seen exactly Return to Frankenstein. Awesome audio. That was a great project. And then that I seen a couple of videos with Stevil, and that's how you guys were amazing. I had.
Well, thank you. And
your show was supposed to take place next weekend on May 30th, and sadly, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening now, but we're doing a couple little just kind of interviews and letting some vendors promote themselves. So still doing some little audio, some online thing, but it gives us a whole nother year to plan and make it even bigger and better for 2021. So it's going to be amazing.
What I found thrilling is that I've never actually been to Deep River, or I hadn't been to Deep River until October, and I found it this really charming community, and it's kind of right there in the middle of, it's kind of in between. Is it Petawawa and North Bay? Would you say it's like situated right between?
Exactly.
and it's like, wow, it's amazing that there is this sort of event that takes place up there. And anyway, I'm very intrigued by it, and I can't wait to get there, because you're going to come back bigger and better than ever.
Yep.
All right.
So the theme for you was to be like the 50th anniversary of the return to Frightenstein. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I guess because of this COVID thing, it's not really a godsend, but this way 2021 will be the actual 50th anniversary, which will make it bigger and better. So
yeah, well, and you know, and that's pretty cool, actually. That's good timing. Now again, I mean, my contribution to Frightenstein, it's a humble contribution, but I mean, I grew up like everybody else, a huge fan of the show, and like both you gents. Have you actually met Mitch in person, Jay? Mitch Markowitz?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
no, Steve has. I know Steve has. Mitch is a wonderful dude. He's a lovely guy. He's one of the he's one of the coolest people I've ever met, and we became very chummy. I was asked to host a panel that he was at. I was just a patron at London Comic Con a few years ago, but Jake, who was one of the organizers, grabbed me and said, would you mind hosting this panel with Mitch? You like Frightenstein? I said, sure. And Mitch and I had this great conversation, and we got along wonderfully. And when it was done, he said to me, we should do this more often. And of course, it's all about audacity, right? I said, well, I happen to own this little production company that does these full cast audio plays, and you should let me do a brand new episode of Frightenstein. And never in a million years did I think he'd say yes, but we went back and forth. I shared some of the work that we did, some of the ideas that I had, and lo and behold, here we are a couple of years later, and I'm part of the Frightenstein family, and it's been amazing because there's some wonderful fans out there. It's a great fan community, actually, very very warm fan community. There's some oddballs, but oddballs are great. And Mitch is certainly very involved. He's very accessible, and it's great to see all the interest in the show, because it was recorded in 1970, but it went out in 1971. All 130 episodes were shot over the course of that 1 year. So next year really is the 50th anniversary, and of course there's a television reboot in the works. There's a documentary that and Return to Frightenstein, for which I'm wearing this fabulous T-shirt, was a full cast audio play that we did. It's out now. It's out everywhere on. It's out there on the Spotify's, on the iTunes, on the Google Plays. It's on CD, and it's the first new episode of Frightenstein. It continues the original series. It's not a reboot. It continues in 48 years, 49 years now. And we have
who's the writer? Was it Mitch and yourself?
Mitch would be correcting me if I didn't take credit. I did write the majority of the script, and it was wonderful, because what would happen is I'd have an idea, I'd have a script, I'd send it off to Mitch, and he'd come back with a couple of suggestions, a couple of Mitchisms, and he just he took it and he elevated it, and he was wonderful. I got royal assent to take on some of the character voices of characters that I love, people that have been portrayed, or characters that have been portrayed by the amazing Billy Van on TV. So that was wonderful. I got to play the Count, of course, and the Count is one of my very favorite characters of all time. I love it. And of course, I got to play the Oracle as well, because the Oracle is a very fun character to play. And Dr. Petvet, of course. Dr. Petvet was another character that I got to play on this. And of course, I got to play the librarian as well. I'll get you next time. Yes. And we had some other wonderful actors as well, and I have to mention them. We had Nicholas Ewan as Wolfman. We had Steve Spencer as Igor. He's wonderful. Dave Hudson as Harvey Wallbanger, and we actually cast a woman, Anne-Marie Bergman as Griselda, who brings something different to it, and yet the character that Billy Van created, the character is still present there. So, that was all tied together. Malcolm McDowell stepped in to replace Vincent Price. Mitch is back as Super Hippie, probably with more dialogue in this than he had in the entire run of the show. Music by Brent Holland, and I'm prouder of Return to Frightenstein than anything else I've done. And I can reveal here that we are in early talks about doing another album. So there's hopefully more Return to Frightenstein to come.
Awesome.
Boy,
that was one of my
That's pretty cool.
You know, I'm sorry. I'm such an introvert. I'm sorry that you have to fill all this dead air. So
That's work for me. I'm just saying.
I'll let you get back to your show again now.
Yeah, well, you pretty well answered that. Okay, you being the I looked at your IMDb, right?
Oh boy.
And you did, and one of the movies that caught my interest was Canuckula.
Oh yeah. Canuckula was
Explain that.
oh boy. How do you explain Canuckula? How do you solve a problem like Canuckula? Okay, so Canuckula was made for $250. It was shot on video. It was kind of my homage to the Universal films. It's completely silly. It's a comedy. You know, I should put it up on YouTube because it's not out there in distribution. It's never going to get out in distribution. We shot it in this old grainy black and white, but no, that's okay. It was pure silliness. It was an experiment before I got into films that we actually started delivering. But the idea was Dracula gets resurrected in Canada in the present day, and goes in search of a descendant of Mina Murray, who was his true love, and it's funny. It's a hoot. It's a silly comedy, and I want to watch Canuckula now. It's been like 10 years since I've seen it, so I should put that up on YouTube.
And of course, the hero is a hockey player.
The hero is a hockey player. That's right. Yeah. And we have our vampire hunter is Smythe von Sloan from the wild forests of Moose Jaw.
Wild Forest Moose Jaw.
So yeah, that was a hoot. I did come back and do Dracula properly. Bill Bossert, who's he's a chap who lives in Connecticut. He's like a brother to me. We produced 3 films together, one of which was Terror of Dracula, which is a really authentic adaptation of the novel, which is something I'd wanted to do my whole life, and he made that happen. And that kind of got my profile out there because we got Fangoria magazine. The great Chris Alexander had a 3-page article commissioned, which was wonderful. We got distribution on it. It did a lot of festivals, and I do love playing Dracula. Now Dracula was played in Svelter days, but it's so interesting to go from playing Dracula, it was very, very frightening and imposing, to playing the Count Frightenstein. It's a very, very different. So it's wonderful to have that family connection.
Did you do the same voice for that?
For Dracula?
Did you play Canuckula or Dracula as the Count? That would have been interesting.
No, that would have been funny. I bid you welcome to my castle, Mr. Harker. Yes, listen to them, the children of the night. Oh, it's Igor. Igor, please tone down on the beans. Okay. Oh boy. It's very wonderful gin, as I said. It's a lovely gin. I'm enjoying it.
For all those you watching, say something, type something in, say hello, ask questions for Anthony Mann. And people watching on the Stevil page, tune into the chatting page. This way I can see your comments. I don't know why StreamYard does it, but the way it is. Just want more interaction.
So I'm going to turn this interview around for a second, if you don't mind me getting a word in. So Stevil, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been bringing joy to people at these conventions and in your public appearances?
I'm not sure if it's joy or torture. I mean, that all depends on perspective, really.
Well, either way, it's been what, about 10 years at least?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. I think
it was interesting.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing because when the first time I saw, I didn't know what to think. I'm like, wow, it really is Dr. Evil, and I couldn't see past the character, and that was the amazing thing. It's like, I can put on some face paint and do a show for 2 hours, but then it's done. And the characters put to rest. But I was so amazed and transfixed at how you maintain that character for every time I saw you. You've maintained that character for 10 years. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Anyway, like I said, you're an ambassador of joy, and hopefully the folks at home who haven't had a chance to meet you at one of these events hopefully they get an opportunity to do so. And that's what I love about conventions.
Oh.
Yeah, I love the convention circuit.
When I started out as Dr. Stevil, I had a lot of anxiety, so I felt more comfortable being a different character. And for some reason, my speech patterns, I could even make up stuff on the spot as opposed to I was like me being Steve. So as Dr. Stevil, I hid behind that character and I maintained him the entire time. And of course, my attitude changed as well. I mean, I curse like a trucker at the real Steve, but as Dr. Stevil, he won't do that. It's just one of those things.
I think
and then after a while, I kind of broke out of my shell, but.
Okay, I think that's fascinating. And some comedians, some of the best comedians as well are very much the same way. They build this guise around them. Bobcat Goldthwait was one of them. Gilbert Gottfried is a perfect example. I don't know if you've had a chance to see him behind the scenes or meet him. I did meet him, and he is, he's not the Gilbert Gottfried that public persona. He has a very, very soft-spoken voice. It's a character for him, and I get that. I get the idea of being able to, because let's face it, to be an artist, you have to experience that wide spectrum of great highs and great lows and very little in between, because that allows you to understand the human experience, and it allows you to interpret and bring to life and understand people and such. So I actually also find it more comforting sometimes to hide behind the mask of a character. And it does give you that freedom. It gives you that ambiguity, that that it's a safety net, right? And then you can just let the craziness, the daffiness flow. Boy,
Exactly.
That was deep. Oh.
It was, but you pretty well summed up what I do. I just didn't know I did all that.
Well, that's
like when I do grow from this big mommy, it's really cool. It's nice for them. I mean, like, I was relevant. Nobody knows who Dr. Evil is. They thought that guy was Professor X. It's like I laugh at them. Like, wow, at least they know who I am.
Well done. Well done.
I just got that from listening to my mom talk. She's got a Polish accent, so I just figured I'd use that. Polish. She's got the same tone as well. That's what she sounds like.
I was very close with Polish people in Montreal when I grew up in Montreal.
Sorry.
I grew up in Montreal, land of great food. That I was born in England, grew up in Montreal, then now I live in Kingston. So I knew a lot of Polish people, and boy, nobody can party like the Polish. I have never seen the capacity for joy and just to enjoy life as I have with the Polish community. It was amazing. No matter how bad the week had been, no matter how bad things were at the time, everybody got together on Saturday. They ate, they drank, they laughed, and it was never ugly. It was all about laughter and joy, and that's great. That's love the Polish, and the food, the pastries. Oh, the Polish pastries. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah.
Jay.
Wszystko dobre.
With your audio, you have, being a big Doctor Who fan, would you ever think about doing an audio version show of Doctor Who? Like,
oh boy, I'll tell you what. I've gone after the property a couple of times before. There is a company that produces. I look at them as our main competitor, actually. Big Finish, because I'm arrogant and I'm audacious. A company called Big Finish has been producing original Doctor Who plays for like 20 years now with the original cast or original cast members, and they're wonderful. And I'm so freaking jealous. I would love to have the opportunity. And now I did try and go after the rights to the two Doctor Who Peter Cushing films that were made in the 1960s, the two offshoots, because there is a little bit of kind of gray area there, but alas, no luck. But I will say this: back in 1998, when Doctor Who was dead, it was dead. I did get permission from the BBC to produce a stage play at the Montreal Fringe Festival that was a comedy. It was a parody of Doctor Who. It was a parody, but it was also a loving tribute to, and we took it seriously as a proper Doctor Who story. And for 8 performances at the McGill Players William Shatner Theatre, I actually got to play Doctor Who on stage every night, and it was such a blast to do that. So You know, that's on my bucket list. I mean, I'd love to do Doctor Who. My dream would be to play that role. It ain't gonna happen, but you know, I wish it would.
But you did it though.
I did it. That's right. Doctor Who fights the furious Florophonophiles in an adventure through time and space. And it was about these plants that were all the Florophonophiles. They're half man, half human. And they have this crazy...
half man, half human? So men aren't human?
No, half plant, half human. Men are barely human. The idea is they have this... the
wife says.
They have this evil plan where they stop the globe so that the sun is shining constantly on Lethbridge, Alberta, and vegetation grows out of hand, and they have these giant fruits. And, you know, I got to walk around being very official and very British and having all these wonderful ideas and walking around with contraptions and gizmos and sonic screwdrivers. It was amazing. But alas, my doctor survived eight performances.
Many people don't survive that many seasons, so you know you're doing good.
That's right.
Not only that, you've also played Sherlock Holmes. You mentioned Dracula, Phantom of the Opera, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, Phantom of the
Opera. Hit all the classics.
Yeah, stuff that I love. You know, this is the stuff that I love. Phantom of the Opera is a great role because people are always telling me that I look fantastic behind a mask. COVID's a good look for me. It really is. And Sherlock
Holmes. That's why you do the radio show, right?
Absolutely. That's, you know, the film wasn't working out. Sherlock Holmes, yeah, that's right. I used to play Sherlock Holmes on radio in Montreal back in the 90s. We did a series of Sherlock Holmes adventures. And then we made a film called Sherlock Holmes and the Shadow Watchers, which was my first feature. It's clunky, but I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it. You know, I'm proud to say that of all the films I've done, it's the one that's been seen by more people because it's on Prime and people love Sherlock Holmes. It's also the worst reviewed film that I've ever made, and I'm incredibly proud to say that I'm regarded as being possibly the worst Sherlock Holmes in the history of Sherlock Holmes on screen. And it's like Plan 9 from Baker Street. And I got to be honest, I'm proud of it. I love that. I think it's great. I was such a massive failure as Sherlock Holmes that the ripples in time can still be felt by fans of the material to this day. It's a wonderful feeling to know that I brought so much discontentment to so many people.
I get that sometimes, yeah. Like the show right now. I mean, oh my gosh, we've doubled our viewers. We've got 4.
Oh boy.
No, not really. We had 6. We lost a lot.
That's great.
All right. Now what do I got here, Karen? At least 13 years of Dr. Stevil, and yes, he can stay in character 24/7.
That's fantastic.
The story about that is not good. Good for me, bad for her. I was dating Karen. I shortly got back from Afghanistan, and we would travel on vacation together, or I would come to Canada to visit her. And every time I did, I would miss a Comic-Con by either a week or a day or 2. So when I finally got to go to my first Comic-Con in Vancouver, I went with Karen, and I went as Dr. Evil. I mean, like I was all nervous and scared, and just did everything as Dr. Evil. It was a 2-day event. So the first day I killed it, and then in the car and on the way home, I was like, you know, yo, hey Karen, what's up? Yeah, everything good? Driving the poor girl crazy. And like you're trying to get into bed. It's like, yeah, you want to see me? Yeah, do I look hot? Is it cool? Yeah, baby. The doctor's in. No, what do you mean the doctor's not in? Okay. Well, not cool, eh? The doctor's got feelings too, you know. Why'd you slam the door? Hey. Okay, I'll stop. No, I can't. Not really. I couldn't. It was crazy. Driving the poor girl crazy. So yeah, I kind of took it too far at first. It took about 3 years before people actually heard my real voice in the comic con industry.
Wow.
And when they did, they gave me like a what? Seriously.
That's amazing. You know, it is an accomplishment. There are. I'm surprised no one's done a documentary on you. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Somebody needs to. I think that there's a really interesting story in you. And like I said,
some crazy guy that just runs around insulting people in character and get away with it because they love it.
Quite well, you know what? Quite the contrary. I think that makes you probably more grounded than most people. You know, to have that outlet, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is that actors and performers have this outlet, you know, that allows them to experience and to explore and to express life in a way that's deeper than some other people, you know, would necessarily have the ability to. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it's a very therapeutic thing, you know, and that's why I love learning about people's passions, because when you talk to somebody, it doesn't have to be somebody involved in the arts. If you talk to somebody who loves movies, who loves music, somebody who loves to build things, you know, who loves cars or sports or what have you, when they talk about their passions, you're seeing the real them, and I think that's fascinating. You know, it's I often say that I love people and I hate people. You know, I hate people, I love people. People can bring out the absolute worst in each other, but there's also those beautiful moments where it's like, you know, if I think if more folks would just lower their walls and just allow themselves to, you know, to fly their geek colors and what have you, I think the world would be a much more harmonious place. And maybe after this whole apocalypse is over, you know, maybe I hope that there is a shift to some degree where people kind of crawl out of their caves and, you know, blink and look at the sky and look at the sun and say, you know what,
too bright. Yeah, going back in.
Going back in. But I hope they value the, you know, going out to a movie more and getting together with friends and sharing a meal and, you know, the things that we take for granted. So
yeah, the little things for sure.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. What's it like in Deep River, Jay? Do you have any cases there of COVID?
We had one last week, first one, and so far it's been good. You know, everybody's still doing the social distancing, obviously, and it's tiring sometimes. We actually just opened up. I work at a home hardware, and we just opened up this past week, and yeah, it's going good.
Good. Well, that's good. That's good because it's
well, you got a lot bigger area, right? And a lot less people than most places. So so how is that? Like a lot more places to walk outside? Because around here, if you got a walking path, like I would walk and like, all right, social distancing. I mean, I've been training for this all my life, right? Like, 'cause that's the way I was. So people walk by, I can ignore them without, you know, being polite. But it's the weird times that people like look at me and smile. It's like, oh my God, she's gonna touch me! You're freaking out. But
so, am I allowed to ask what neck of the woods you're in, Steve?
I'm in the thriving metropolis of Burlington, Ontario.
Oh, I know Burlington. You know what? I visit Burlington fairly frequently. A friend of
purpose.
Yeah, I do. A good friend of mine lives there. The gal who starred in Terror of Dracula, Denise. She lives in Burlington, and yeah. Well, you know, next time I'm in town, we'll have to get together and you know, again, once again,
social distance. Yeah,
and social distance. That's right. Nice to see you, Steve. What was that? Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. So, but no, once
I did that 2 days ago. I went to hang out with my buddy, social distance, of course, right? So we're both in each other's cars, you know, driver's side. So we, you know, park our cars opposite each other so we can talk to each other. And sadly, I had the sun, so I'm sitting out here, you know, my elbow, and I got burned. I mean, it was supposed to be about 5 minutes, but we were out there talking for about an hour or two. And this right here is burned. My other arm, not so much. So that's all I got.
I've been doing the same thing, getting together with people and doing, you know, the whole car chat thing, which is a wonderful excuse to be sedentary. And it's I'm going to be so grotesquely, gigantously huge by the end of this pandemic. I've reached the conclusion, forget my pants, I'm going to have to let the condo out when this is all done. You know, I actually leave the house with a can of cooking spray in my pocket because I have to, you know, spray it on the doors to grease them in order to slide in. You know, it's just it's been something. But I kind of like these car things that people are doing. I love that idea. I think it's
But get a little bit of exercise, get into the car and get out, and that's about it.
That's right.
Sitting down.
Well, that sounds like a lot of work.
speaking of geeks and stuff, I wonder why drive-ins haven't been able to be opened yet. We have one in Pembroke. They're not allowed to open yet.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Wow,
Yeah.
I thought drive-ins would be opening now. We had one in Kingston for the longest time that closed last year for good. They closed their doors, and what a shame, because this would have been like the perfect year for them to actually thrive. But there's one in Picton I think I'm going to check out if I'm ever allowed to leave city limits again. I love the drive-in. It's part of that whole magic experience, and that's the thing. Film going. Because I love going to the movies. I do enjoy going, although I find I'm turning into a bit of an old man. I get a little tetchy when people are on their phones and chatting or whatever, and
Hold on.
yeah, no worries. Love it. But I think the film going experience. I hope theaters can rebound from this, but I think the whole experience has to change. It needs to become more of an experience, because when we were kids, and again, I'm dealing with a couple of geeks here, fellow geeks. When we were kids, going to the movies was special. It's still special. Going to a drive-in, that's special. It's not just let's do this so I can pay half attention to the film and the other half Pokemon Now or what have you. So I'd like to see what other ways people can augment that experience, and a drive-in is, I love the drive-in, so I hope that we do see more of those pop up.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's quite a nice, safe way to do things. So if you want to hit the later show, because the earlier show sometimes you can't really see too well because it's not dark enough. That's okay.
And the projector's not on. You shouldn't go at 10 in the morning. It's a bad idea.
It's when I woke up. I was just there. It's like, ugh.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We hadn't started yet. Damn.
So I always ask this question to people because this is how I love to get to know people. Folks, if you're just tuning in and you're watching the Anthony Mann Show, I appreciate you for tuning in. My guests today are Dr. Stevil and Jay Crawford.
Fester.
That's right. Fester. Uncle Fester. I always ask. This is how I like to get to know people. I always ask them the same question: what's your favorite movie? What is your favorite movie? If there was one movie that was the only movie you'd be able to watch again and again and again, between now and the end of days, what's that one movie? What's your special movie? Who wants to go first?
I've heard you ask that question before to Ryan, and I would have been blown away. I don't really have anything. Like, I like so many different movies. But one movie just keeps popping into my head that I enjoy and probably will enjoy again is something called A Fish Called Wanda.
Oh, great movie. John Cleese, Kevin Kline, Jamie Lee
Brilliant.
Curtis.
It's funny.
Oh, yeah. And Michael Palin, of course, was hilarious in that, as well as the stuttering. Oh, yeah. Oh, A Fish Called Wanda. I haven't seen that in so long. It was Russian lessons, right? Russian language lessons, I think, or was it French lessons?
He was Russian. He spoke Russian inside his house. Yeah,
that's right. Oh boy, I love that sequence.
He's dancing around naked and stuff and flinging off his underwear.
Oh, yeah. John Cleese in his heyday. Oh, that's such a funny movie. And of course they sort of did a quasi follow up to that, which was it Splitting Heirs? That was kind of it had most of the same cast. They weren't playing the same characters, but I think it was Splitting Heirs. I could be wrong, but I think that's the one where they had most of the original cast back, but it wasn't a proper sequel.
I saw the movie and it wasn't that good. It wasn't on that level.
No, it absolutely wasn't. Fish Called Wanda is a masterpiece. Jay, what about you? What's your favorite movie?
I kind of have two for two different reasons. My very first, if I want to escape from the world, Empire Records.
Oh, okay.
Movie.
Yeah.
Liv Tyler. Awesome. Love the sound, the music in it. Music makes the movie, I find.
It's a fun film.
And another one, and one for something deep, Powder.
Oh boy, Powder with Jeff Goldblum, right? Yeah.
Makes me think of the good in people. Everybody's good. Just got to find it and be positive.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So those are two they're like on opposite ends of the spectrum, but that's great. Yeah. Those are two really interesting choices. And Fish Called Wanda again, Fester. I mean, that's that's a film that I haven't seen in at least a decade. So I need to go and throw that on now. That's two films now that I have to go and put on. Canuckula and Fish Called Wanda. I'll tell you which the better one. I'll tell you what film's the better film. It's not Canuckula.
All right, what about yours? What's your favorite?
My very favorite film of all time is
All time.
The Changeling, George C. Scott, 1981 film, 1980 film, excuse me, directed by Peter Madak, and it's the ultimate haunted house movie. It's a perfect film in my mind. It's about George C. Scott plays a composer who moves into this old house alone. There's been a family tragedy, and he is contacted, or he's being haunted by the ghost of a little boy who has a relationship with this house. Anyway, I don't want to give anything away because if you haven't seen it, it's a masterpiece. It's just a marvelous film. The George C. Scott delivers a masterclass in acting. The music is incredible, tension, plotting, just the pacing of the film. It's a masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. And there's one sequence involving a wheelchair. That's all I'll say. It involves a wheelchair. And it's an iconic moment in this film. And that was my first experience with horror. When I was a kid, I woke up in the middle of the night, about 2 a.m, and my mom was watching The Late Show on television in the den. And I walked in, and she happened to be watching a TV screening of The Changeling. And I walked in right on the wheelchair sequence. And those folks at home will know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it just changed my life. It changed my life around. And it was years before I could figure out what that film was. And then when I was like 10 years old, because I used to wait for the weekend, Saturdays and Friday nights, I'd rush to the video store and rent movies on videotape. The generation today doesn't understand what a thrill it was to go to a video store, and grab the box or those little felt tags.
Whip it up.
And I ended up renting this film, The Changeling, that sounded good, and lo and behold, there's that sequence with the wheelchair, and I'm like, oh yes, this was that film when I was a kid. So it's something now that I've returned to every year, at least once a year, every Halloween, but usually another time throughout the year too. I've seen it at least 50 times, and I love it. It's an amazing film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Don't be confused with that Clint Eastwood film called The Changeling. It has nothing to do with it. The Changeling, 1980.
But
George
I'm
Scott.
not scary enough for you.
No, that was terrifying. In fact, I may have piddled a little bit, but yeah, The Changeling. Check it out, folks.
Success. Life is good when you make someone piddle.
Yes, I agree.
Anyways, Darren Jang, the drive-in in Langley is open in BC. Now issued a 50 vehicle limit for events, so outdoor concerts are on hold. But
well, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Speaking of 50 limits, that brings up the story of the mayor of Burlington. Social distancing, right? You shouldn't have like 5 people around same time and like keep your 2 meters apart. But for some reason, I don't think she gets it. She they had parades of vehicles going down at one time, and she issued that they can only have 5 vehicles going, together. And so I think she got Cars confused with the movie Cars, that they're actually living beings and they're going to get coronavirus. But
wow.
Seriously, it's the vehicles. I mean, you have to reread it to make sure. Like, she's talking about people, right? No.
Wow, that's a little excessive. Well, here's hoping they know what they're doing, and there's a good reason for any decisions that are made. So,
we got a howdy, guys, from my friend Johnny Miller. He's the official Colonel Sanders for the KFC brand.
Hey, wow, that's awesome. Actually, now is that a picture of him right there?
That is, yeah, that's him.
Wow, he's fantastic, Johnny. Wow. I'd want to say that your finger looking good, but that would be very, very strange. Instead, I'm just going to say, wow, he is Colonel Sanders. That's amazing. Why do you have me on the show? Get Colonel Sanders on the show. He'd be much more interesting.
I had him already.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, I got the Colonel, I got the best. Now who else? Oh, Anthony. Okay, let's.
You say the best for last, right? No, we're just up to the M's. Actually, that's
yeah, just like Brad Pitt couldn't make it. I'm sorry.
I often get mistaken for him. Actually,
I know.
Yeah.
So I figured that with you here, I could get the ratings up.
No, that's not going to happen. No, this is well, folks. Thank you for tuning into the very last episode of the Dr. Stevil Show.
Well, speaking of the Colonel here, he came by and said hello to one of my other during my other chats. So I was chatting with a guy called Robert Bellamy. He runs CK Expo. It's another small convention in Chatham, basically charity whatnot. But he came on and said hello, and I go, hey, that's the Colonel. The official Colonel lookalike that they use. So he's in the works to get him down to the next show as a guest. All he's got to do is come over, The Colonel, man. When I first met him, I was like, I was freaking out.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool. Okay, so I didn't realize there was a show in Chatham. That sounds kind of cool, actually. Maybe if they're watching, maybe they want some Freudenstein at the Chatham show. That'd be cool. I'm looking forward to getting to, because when I do these events, I don't make money. If I do make money, I spend it at the event. That's the problem. I always leave in a deficit no matter what I do, because I walk in and here's your table, Mr. Man. Thank you very much for the 12 people who know who I am. Thank you very much. And then look at this. I got to buy that. 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 And I love conventions. I love the atmosphere. I love the people. Just the oddballs that you meet, the people who are so invested in their passion. Again, yeah, but again, that's we all do it for the same reason. Yeah. Jay, I'm going to assume that's not an original Action Comics.
Yeah, I kept with my.
No, it's a metal. Metal pocket rock. Yeah, I wish it was.
Yeah. Oh, here's a very geeky question that I'll throw at it. Why can't they get Superman right? Why can't modern cinema, modern television get Superman right? Is it just me, or has Superman not been right since Christopher Lee left the cape behind?
I don't know, not sure, because Superman, the basic story is he's from another planet, right? And he could take over and destroy everything if he wants, but he was brought up properly. Right, and that's what changes him from everybody else, and that's why he's such a good person. But today's cinema, the one we saw, the Man of Steel, a few things that bothered me is like I don't know, should I save them or should I not? And he's watching his friends. The girl's she's gonna die in the building. What should I do? Oh, I guess I should go save him, instead of like the Superman we know is like, boom, where's Clark? Right?
Exactly. Jay, how do you feel about Superman in the in the cinematic spectrum these days?
I think, to me, every new Superman I try to look at differently, because in my own perspective, I always think of Christopher Reeve as Superman. So I try not to compare them. I try to compare them as individual characters, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. Yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that.
Yeah, because I love the way Smallville, the whole Smallville on WB was. That was awesome. I love that show. I love the way they portrayed.
You know what? Yeah. I must confess, I haven't seen enough Smallville to have an opinion on it. So I didn't stick with the show, and maybe I should have, because it seemed like there was a lot of optimism in that show, which has been lacking from the last Superman outings. Superman Returns was so promising. It could have been something very special, and boy, did it nosedive. What a shame! What a shame! Yeah. Because unlike you,
remember Steel?
Oh, pardon me?
You remember the movie Steel?
Yes, I do. Yes.
That was about.
Yes, that's right. Oh boy, I forgot about that film. Anyway, yeah, that's my little rant. You know how I think they should do Superman? We should have a retro Superman. Set it in the 1940s. I'd like to see a 1940s set Superman, a 1940s set Batman, and then just do those films. Give us a 1960s era James Bond film as well. Let's go back to the eras in which these characters were created, so that you have them as a figment of time and place. That could be interesting, but nobody listens to me.
Of course not. No. Well, I think a good Superman they had was Tyler Hoechlin, or he's the one CW show.
What? Yeah.
He's shorter than anyone else, but he had the attitude. Because when you watch his interaction with Supergirl, it's so positive. It's like that's the attitude that I kind of want from Superman. It's like inspiring, happy, friendly, and all that stuff.
And now he's getting his own show, I think, right?
He is Superman and Lois.
All right, that'll be interesting. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in the new Star Trek, which they've announced, Strange New Worlds, the Captain Pike show. That's going to be pretty cool. So I am optimistic about television right now and what's available on the streaming networks, because there is some great programming out there.
If there is, I can't wait for season 2 of The Boys.
Season 2 of what?
The Boys.
Oh yeah, you know what? I've got season 1 on my watch list. Now's the time, right, to binge these things. Yeah, I need to watch season 1. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do.
All right.
That's what happens when superheroes are marketed, right? So they're just there to appear in front of everybody to sell merchandise and whatnot.
Wow. Okay, I like that idea. That sounds great. I'll have to give it a watch.
Anthony, got a quick question for you about Frightenstein.
Yes, sir.
With your obviously you did an amazing job with the audio, with the head spinners coming out with the TV show. Are you looking to look at that as a whole different characters, like as a new character, or do you think your mindset's going to think, no, that's not? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. I know the folks who are bringing Frightenstein to life. In fact, I actually was able to kind of get them in touch with Mitch. So I was very pleased to be part of that. Ken Cooperis is a very talented individual. He's a great writer. He was a script editor for Stargate Atlantis. He's showrunner on Rex, which is on Global, I think, and he's done so much for entertainment for children. His wife too. She is she's a creative powerhouse. So I think they're the right people to do it. I think what they're doing is going to be separate from the original series. At least that's based on what they've put out there publicly. They're looking to they're looking to the evolution of those characters, something in the same spirit of the original show, but something that's different as well. So I would say, and this is just my humble opinion, that it is something separate. It is something different. And the nice distinction is that I look at Return to Frightenstein, the Bleak December audio. I look at that as a continuation of the original series. So you have the new series, which is its own creature, and then you have ours, which is a continuation of the original series. I think there's room for both to exist.
Agreed.
Well, thank you. And that's a good place. That's a good place for us all to be. So
Do you have any? Are you aware if they're one too, or no?
Pardon me?
Are you aware if they are the ones doing the cartoon as well, or is that a different one?
No, it's Headspinner's got two things in the pipeline, so I have no idea. I have no idea where things are at, but I hear little rumblings. I have a couple of well placed birdies, so to speak, but I don't have. I really don't know when we're going to see it.
Awesome.
Right. What's in store for the future of you for Bleak December? Let's say this virus doesn't.
Well, it never ends. We're going to be doing more of these Bleak December live presentations, and that's just something fun. That's us doing our part to help alleviate the situation. Nurses and doctors, health people out there, essential workers, people working.
Evil doctors.
And evil doctors too, save lives, and what we can do as artists is our humble contribution as well. We can't save lives, but we can make life just a little more bearable. And that's why, I'm happy to get these Bleak December readings done. Nobody's making any money. We're just doing them for free, and happy to do so. I'm still working on our commercial releases too. Like, we have a full slate of full cast audio plays. We're always in production on something. Like I said, we just delivered The Wicker Man, which will be coming out with our distributors, Cadabra Records and Brilliance Audio, later this year. Murders in the Rue Morgue just hit this past month. That's another one we did. We're doing the Turn of the Screw based on the old ghost story that's coming up, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Plus, I'm also working on some other licensed projects that I can't talk about yet, but I'm trying to resurrect some of the classic horror stars in something special that we're looking at doing. So anyway, all sorts of ideas. Yes, absolutely. There's all sorts of things that are ahead. COVID's not going to stop us. This mind is always churning.
Yeah, excellent. And Jay, since Geek Fest is not happening, is there anything else that you guys are doing online?
Online, it's just hopefully we're just going to be promoting everybody else. Really, that's the main thing of this whole next year is just trying to get the name out of everybody and all the vendors who have stuck with us. And then we signed off with another what do you want to call him? Designer anyway. He's got a couple of good ideas. We're trying to figure out a best mascot right now. So
we'll that's
have a whole
cool.
year to
a mascot.
So should be fun with a nuclear power plant and a military base close by. Get them both together to
boy. Wow, that's pretty cool actually. Cool. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with.
Weaponized mascot.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm thinking a weaponized mascot.
Steve's your guy right here.
Keep your distance.
That's awesome.
That's right. Oh, cool.
Well,
we've been here for about an hour, so you guys got anything else that you want to get off your chest?
No.
Any more questions?
No.
I want to thank both of you for doing such an amazing job. Both talented artists. Thank you very much. Looking forward to getting up with you guys next year, 2021.
Thanks, Jay. We're looking forward to doing that too. And I know you were in Kingston a few months ago, and I'm sorry that we couldn't make a meetup work. But next time you're in this neck of the woods, we will make sure that happens. And to all the folks at home, something that I've said, nobody's listening to me, but I'm going to say it anyway. As a species, humans are incredibly resilient despite our best efforts. And we're going to get through this. And in the interim, let's just think about what matters. I know I'm doing a lot of that. What's important to me? What do I miss? And it's been amazing what I've been able to live without. And it's been amazing looking at my priorities and the things that I actually miss, which are different than I thought they would have been. So we'll get through this, and when we do, I know Dr. Stevil will be out there, and Fester will be out there, and Jay's already finding, he's already planning some wonderful things to bring people together, and I look forward to meeting many people out there as well. So
awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you.
You've been in Kingston. You bothered by the military rats?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's actually great. It's great to have their presence here in the city.
Because I used to be one of those back in 2001, but
Oh, you were in Kingston, really? All right. Actually, that was the year. That was the year that I moved
for 2
here. Yeah. No. Actually, it's kind of nice to have a base here. Just you feel that extra sense of security, if that makes sense. But a lot of good people up there.
Sure.
A lot of great people up there for sure.
All right. Karen says, "Thanks, guys. Great show."
Well, thank you, Karen, and thank you, Steve. It's been a good time. I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Just stay on in the the back room there, and I'll hook you up with the CK Expo guy.
Sounds good to me.
When Chatham. All right. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining in with the Chatting with Dr. Stevil show. Tomorrow, I think that's right. So just bear with me while I do this. Tomorrow we get the amazing Reed, as you'd say. He is a magician, and he's going to show us or tell us what it's like with COVID-19 right now. I'm not sure if you can see what he's at now. That's going to be him. And on Thursday, I'm going to have a double feature happening. We are going to have, sorry. Anyways, this Thursday, I'm going to have the author and creator of Aurora Man, Jeff Burton. He'll be chatting about Aurora Man and the Aurora Man audio series that he's got. And then Thursday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to have original Glow wrestler, Sunny the California girl, Patricia Summerland. So tune in, ask questions. She's ready to answer them all, and you can find out what happened and what the real difference is between the real show and the television show. So thanks a lot, everybody. Y'all take care. Keep good. Be nice to each other, and we'll get through this. Yeah, I'm going to end the podcast. It's